Okay, just to check. Okay, so I developed this work with Eliseo Marzal and Eva, who is sitting there. So, well, I'll skip this, the outline of the talk. I'm sure everybody here is familiar with the driver lock domain. In this particular case we have here, we have to deliver 3 packages from these 3 locations and using 2 trucks and 2 drivers. And a possible solution for this problem could be this one, when we use truck 2 to deliver package 1 and truck 1 to deliver the other 2 packages. But if we add some deadlines to this problem, it could be the case that this particular solution is not feasible, because there are at least, it's only one of the deadlines that is not met in this plan. So, goal deadlines are important in temporal planning for example, manufacturing operations in supply chain activities or for delivery of goods. So we have developed TempLM, which is a new approach to temporal planning to deal with these deadline constraints. It is based on the idea of landmark, which is a proposition that must be true at some point during the execution of any solution plan. So for example, if we have 3 plans that solve a given problem, the set of landmarks of this, for this problem is the intersection of all the propositions that are reached in these 3 plans if we have only 3 solutions. So if one of the plans is not correct from the deadline constraints point of view, so the number of landmarks in this case increase, and we have a bigger set of landmarks, what we call the temporal landmark. So a temporal landmark is a proposition that must be true in a solution plan that satisfies the deadline constraints. So in this paper, what we are doing is to extend a work that we presented in 2008 and to give a method to extract temporal landmarks, to create a landmark graph, and to propagate temporal information that is present in the problem so that it can be used for the search. So what we have in the final stage is a fully executable planner, which is called TempLM, that exploits the information in the landmark graph for a more efficient search, and it is also capable of detecting unsolvable problems. So a temporal planning problem with the lines can be defined as a set of propositions, a set of actions, the initial state and the goal, and this is the set of deadline constraints of the form, the proposition, and the time at which this proposition must be achieved. There are 2 basic ways in PDDL for expressing deadlines. The most straightforward is by using the within modal operator of PDDL3 that gives us the corresponding deadline constraints. And also we can use time initial literals. In this case, imagine that we have a proposition P that is true in the initial state, and we have a time initial literal that invalidates this proposition at time t. So if we have an action, only one action, that achieves a goal G with a duration D and that uses this proposition P as a condition, then we can say that this goal G has to be achieved at latest at T plus D time units. So once we have the set of the lines for the problem, our planning process works in 2 stages. The first one is the knowledge compilation, which is the most important part of the planner. And in this part, what we do is to extract the non-temporal landmarks, the usual ones. Then we extract the temporal landmarks, and we order all of them to come up with to the landmarks graph. Once we have that, we propagate temporal information along this graph, where each landmark is annotated with 3 intervals. If during the propagation of the temporal information we are able to extract more temporal landmarks, these are also added to the landmarks graph. So this process is iterative. So at the end, we have all the landmarks graph we can, all the landmarks we can extract. Once we have that, we move to the search phase. And in this part, what we do is to use an algorithm which is guided by a the LMCAT heuristic, and where we are using the information in the landmass graph for planning some nodes. So the extraction of the non-temporal landmarks is a process that we introduced in that paper of 2011, which is a combination of several existing methods. And this combination, in the end, returns more landmarks than any other known technique. So what we are using are known concepts like the first achievers, which is a set of actions that may achieve a proposition P at time t, or the dependency labels, which is the set of propositions that must be true in the plan before a proposition P becomes true at time t. So in the end, to extract the non-temporal landmarks, we execute an iterative process first on the goals of the problem, and then once we have the first achievers, or the intersection of the action in the first achievers of these goals, these conditions also become landmarks, and then we again compute this intersection of the first achievers of these subgoals. So this is an iterative process, and then we also add to this all these non-temporal landmarks those that come from the labels from all the goals in the problem. So the non-temporal landmarks give us the idea of what must be achieved, and what we want to also know is when each landmark must be achieved to satisfy the deadline. So what we add is 3 temporal intervals. The generation interval indicates which is the first fact layer in which a proposition appears in a temporal relaxed planning graph, and the max g is the latest time point when this proposition must start in order to satisfy the deadlines. Then we have the validity interval, which is the maximum interval of validity of a given proposition. And then we also have the necessity interval, which is the interval when a given proposition is required as a condition for an action to achieve other landmarks. So at the beginning, what we do is to take all the constraints that are present in this set D, that is the set of deadline constraints, and we simply set the max G of all these landmarks to this time T. Well, I don't have the, well, when this time T sub L. So for example, in the driver log problem I mentioned before, it is not possible to extract non-temporal landmarks apart from those from the initial states and the goals. So what we do in this part is to all the goals to set the max G to all the goals. So for example, if we have that at package 2 S3 has to be achieved at 50, so that's the max G of that goal. Then once we have that, we can check which are the labels of all these deadline constraints, or all these propositions that are present in the deadline constraints, and this gives us which proposition must to be achieved at that, must to be true at that point in order to satisfy this proposition at the given time. So for example, if we consult which are the propositions or the labels of at P2S3 at time 50, it says that we need to have the driver 1, driving track 1, and so on. So what this is indicating is that package 2 has to be delivered with track 1. These propositions are temporal landmarks, but are not non-temporal landmarks, because if we have 2 tracks, we can use any of them to deliver any of the packages. So the next step is to join all the temporal and non-temporal landmarks into the landmass graph. So what we do is to compute some necessary or dependency orderings. So the idea is very simple. We can set a necessary order between 2 propositions if one of the propositions belongs to the intersection of the conditions of the actions that achieve the other proposition at time t, or we can set a dependency order if one of the propositions belong to the labels of the other proposition at time t. So once we have that, what we can do is to propagate the temporal information along the graph so that the intervals, the temporal intervals can be reduced, can be shrink. So if we have an ordering between two propositions, we can propagate some information about the intervals both forwards or backwards. For example, if we have this part of the landmarks graph, and we know that at P2, S3 has to be achieved at 50, then if there is only one action that achieves at P2, S3 from at T1, S3, which is the case that there is only one action, which is unload the package at the corresponding location, with a duration of 2, we know that in that case, at T1, S3 has to be achieved before 48. Similarly, we know that the distance between S2 and S3, the minimum distance is 20 time units. So in order to have at T1, S3 at 48, the previous proposition has to be achieved at latest at 28. So we can modify the max G of all the propositions in this ordering line. And we also can do it forwards. So, for example, in the first case, if at T1, S2 can be valid, can be achieved at earliest at 24, and the distance between these two propositions is 20, then the other one, the next one at T1, S3, can only be achieved from 44. And similarly, we can propagate this information to the other proposition. So this is one of the propagations that we do. And when we modify, for example, the max G of a given proposition, we can, again, look at the labels of this proposition in the new max G to see if we can extract more temporal landmarks. We can also shrink the maximum value of the validity interval when, for example, we have a relationship, a mu-test relationship between two propositions, and there is also an ordering between them. So, for example, if at T1, S3 has to be achieved at latest at 48, then, and it is mu-test with having the track in another location, and there is a relation, an ordering relation between them, we know that at T1, S2 will not be longer valid from 28 because it has to be deleted in order to satisfy the next proposition at 48. Well, I'm not going into the details of the computation of the necessity interval. You have it in the paper. If you have any question, just ask me. So after this propagation, we have the landmass graph with the non-temporal and temporal landmarks at the necessary and dependency orderings, and also with all the temporal intervals modified. So what we can do at this point is to check whether the intervals are consistent for each of the landmarks in the graph. So if these expressions hold, then we have a consistent landmass graph. But for example, it could be the case that, imagine that we have that proposition, and the temporal relaxed planning graph expansion says that it can be achieved at 35. However, when we have propagated information in the graph, we know that it can only be achieved from 46. So if instead of having the deadline at 50, we have it any time before 46, we can say that this problem is unsolvable. So now we can move to the search phase, and we are performing a search in the space of the partial plans, where each node is a conflict-free partial plan and the frontier state. We are using this evaluation function where we are using the LMCAT heuristic, where the cost of each action is the duration of the action. So obviously, we are overestimating the distance to the goal, but well, it's not working very bad. So once we have selected which is the next node to be expanded, we consider all the actions that are applicable in the frontier state for the expansion of this node. So, for example, we can have that action A is applicable in ST. However, what we can check if this action could be executed earlier with the aim of having or obtaining a shorter make span. So we compute the earliest start time of the action as the first time point from the initial state where this action is applicable and it does not interfere with any other action that is already present in the plan. For example, if we have that A prime is an action that is in the plan, A, which is a new action, would interfere with A prime if it deletes any condition that is required by A prime between the time point when it is generated and the time point when it is needed. So, once we have expanded all the nodes, we can check whether the information that is in the partial plan is compliant or not with information in the landmarks graph. So, for example, if we have a landmark that is already in the plan, that has been achieved in the plan, and in the plan it starts at that start L time point, so we can prune this node if this start of the landmark in the plan is lower than the minimum value of the validity interval. And also we can prune this plan if this proposition, if this landmark is achieved later than the time point that the max G value indicates. Also, we have two landmarks that are ordered in the landmarks graph so that L has to be achieved before L prime. We can discard a node in the search tree if in the partial plan they are achieved the other way around. So we have performed several experiments with 5 domains from the international planning competitions, where in some cases the lines are encoded as time initial literal, in other cases with by means of the within modal operator, and we have also added some. We have generated some new problems for the driver log and the Sino travel domain, adding some of the deadlines, and we have also added some unsolvable problems in all the domains. We have compared our TempLN with Optic, and well, just a few comments about the experiments. With respect to the unsolvable problems, our approach detected all of them, and in several cases, it took less than 1 second. That means that this was detected or during the expansion of the temporal relaxed planning graph or during the construction of the landmarks graph. Optic was able to detect 7 out of these 20 unsolvable problems, and in all these cases, well, we are pretty sure that it was detected during the temporal relaxed planning graph expansion. With respect to the solvable problems, in general, we obtain plans with a shorter make span in less time because we think that Optic had more difficulties in problem with tight deadlines because it needed more search. The final idea of this is that as when the problem is more constrained, our approach is working better. Better, I mean, not compared with Optic, but better in general. When the problem is more constrained, we are able to extract more temporal landmarks and to shrink more the temporal intervals. So just to conclude, we have presented a domain-independent temporal planning model to solve problems with the line constraints, and our key contribution is the design and the incorporation of a knowledge compilation component into a planning system that helps to reduce the search space and allows for an early detection of unsolvable problems. The main idea here is that this component can be used or can be embedded to any search algorithm. And now we are developing a method for using the information from the valid subplans as a feedback to the landmass graph in order to obtain more temporal landmass in the problem. And that's it. Thank you very much. Hi.
So first of all, to answer a question that you asked me, could this be embedded in POP? I think it can be, so we should definitely talk about that. I just wanted to ask, how expressive is your temporal model? Can you handle required concurrency? Are you using the start and end actions? Or?
Well, not concurrency in the sense of, the set of domains we are presenting here is more or less the set of domains that had the characteristics that our parser is able to handle. So if we use another, the model is quite expressive. I mean, the landmass model is quite expressive, and even we can use any other constraints that are not present in the PDDL language. So we think that it could be extended a lot, and we can use many other relationships between the intervals in order to have a richer information graph.
So we have time for a really quick question.
So, in case there are no deadlines in the problem, do the temporal landmarks give you any more information than?
No,
Okay.
no. This is thought for using with the lines. So, because if we don't have the lines, we cannot set the maxi, and then we cannot propagate any information in the graph.
Thanks. Let's thank the speaker again.
Thank you.